All right. All right. Let's do our own little mini Lego Rocks kind of recap on the All-Star Skills Competition. Talk about not everything, but the things that stood out to me and the things that I think you will most likely click on this video to hear about. Because boy, oh boy, that was an interesting All-Star Skills Competition. I don't want to say it was bad. Definitely it was not bad, but if I said that it was absolutely amazing, I think I'd be kind of lying through my teeth. That was a weird one. Really weird, and overall, the technological advances and experiments that they were trying out really did put a little bit of a weird taste into this one, but nevertheless, there is still a lot of really good talent on display, and we did see a few things here and there that I was absolutely shocked to see. Now, as a Vancouver Canucks fan, as a guy who likes the Montreal Canadiens, as a guy who's a Red Wings fan and a Leafs fan as well, yeah, I'm a fan of a lot of teams. It's kind of weird. Maybe I should just say I'm a hockey fan. As a hockey fan in general, it was really interesting to see some of the results that we saw with these specific competitions. And in particular, I'm talking about the ones that we all kind of already know and love and already identify with. As a Canucks fan, we talked about the 3 Vancouver Canucks heading into today's action. Quinn Hughes in the fastest skater, Jacob Markstrom in the save streak, and Elias Pettersson in the hardest shot. For the sake of referring back to that video I made earlier today, let's just go over some of these Vancouver Canucks performances. Quinn Hughes, he was last. And that was something that I wasn't really too surprised about. I mean, this fastest skater thing was filled with a lot of surprises, but Quinn Hughes not beating anybody, I don't want to say that that was something that I was incredibly surprised about, but the fact is, Quinn Hughes was playing against a whole bunch of other forwards. Quinn Hughes is a defenseman, and I posted this on the Twitter. It's okay that Quinn Hughes was last. The guy's best asset of his skating, it's not his straight line speed going forward. It's his backward skating. It's his edges. It's his ability to do the really nice 4 and 8 skating where he opens up his hips and he spins sideways. That is Quinn Hughes' forte. Straight line speed, not necessarily his strongest asset. So I wasn't necessarily too shocked to see him come in last, but what I was shocked about was a few other things. Chris Kreider, who went first, is really gosh darn fast. I didn't realize it until watching this that the guy's straight line speed is absolutely indomitable. You can't stop it. It's why Chris Kreider has garnered that reputation of being just a straight line, rush to the net kind of player. Yeah, it does get the goalie once in a while. As a Habs fan, I know all about that, but for sure, seeing him in this competition totally take things into his own hands early on was nice to see. But there was another player who I'm very familiar with that actually won this competition, and I'm not talking about Connor McDavid. Matthew Barzal of the New York Islanders wins the fastest skater competition. Now, as a Canucks fan, Barzal has always kind of been that little devil on my shoulder, behind me, just lurking in the deep, dark crevices of my mind, because Barzal 2 seasons ago was the one who beat out Brock Besser for the Calder Trophy, for the NHL's Rookie of the Year. Now, in all honesty, he deserved it, but the fact is, as a Canucks fan, it's hard to brush that off, especially when Besser was having a great rookie season too. But boy, oh boy, I didn't know Barzal was fast like that. Faster than McDavid. And what's crazy is that it didn't even look like McDavid let down. If I recall correctly, McDavid beat his time from last year, but it was just not good enough because Barzal was out there and he totally controlled it. Mega props to the former Seattle Thunderbird and BC native Matthew Barzal for totally just shocking the league with his straight line speed and the way he was able to gain speed while curving along the edges of the ice there. Really nice performance. Going over into the next Vancouver Canucks performance that we had, Jacob Markstrom was mic'd up for the save streak. Oh, man. If you know why I'm laughing, you know exactly why I'm laughing, and you're laughing with me too, because Jacob Markstrom had a microphone. Jacob Markstrom had an earpiece. Jacob Markstrom was chatting with the CBC Sportsnet crew while he was doing the event. And let's just say he kind of slipped one out a little bit, because he had a really nice save streak going on, but then all of a sudden, the next shooter on him, it's Roman Josi from the Nashville Predators, who comes in, takes a shot, it beats Markstrom low glove, I believe. And Markstrom is caught in the stand-up position, and he's like, off. And he just says that point blank into the microphone. The commentators don't acknowledge it, because that's the protocol when something like that happens. You ignore it, you move on. If you're in a position where it's like just out of the blue, you apologize for it. But if it's coming from the guy who you're literally talking to, you just ignore it, pretend it didn't happen, etc. So they didn't acknowledge it, but on Twitter, everybody was like, did Markstrom just drop an F-bomb on TV? And yes, he did. The clip is available online somewhere, and that was just funny. Funny. I was like, oh, did he really just do that? And I rewinded my TV a whole bunch, just like checking that out. But Markstrom, he didn't win the event. He came in fourth, I believe, something like that, behind Vasilevsky, Anderson, and Binnington. It was really weird seeing Binnington face off against Pettersson, and Pettersson didn't actually score. Neither did Hughes, because Hughes had his opportunities to score in this event too. But overall, it's Binnington who takes this one. A crazy performance by that guy. So many saves in a row in his hometown building, you couldn't write it better. But the last Vancouver Canucks performance we had was for the hardest shot competition, which started off with Al MacInnis coming out with a wooden stick at 50-something years old, taking a shot, and the NHL displaying it as 104 miles per hour, or 100.4 miles per hour, which was his record back in like the 90s. Now, I think it was definitely meant to be played off as kind of a joke. Not necessarily like, oh, Al MacInnis can't shoot, but joking around that MacInnis was able to replicate his record. And of course, they set that bar for charity, which is really great. Any player who is able to get 100.4 would have $5,000 donated to their charity of choice. That's always awesome to see. But the way the NHL presented that on the TV, it got a lot of people thinking, what the hell? No way he shot 100.4 miles per hour with a wooden stick coming out here. Like, I know Al MacInnis was great and all, but like, he can't do that now. So obviously, taking a look at it, it wasn't really the most well-presented kind of thing, but in showing the charity benefits, you know, I'll let it slide, it's for charity, it's a good cause, whatever. The Vancouver Canucks had Elias Pettersson doing this. And he wasn't last. He came third behind John Carlson and Shea Weber. Pettersson got 102.4 miles per hour, which was absolutely wicked. For a guy who shoots at 176 pounds, he can absolutely rip the puck, and as the only forward in this competition, as a center nonetheless, he was definitely impressive. So I was really happy to see him, because when he took his shot, he was at 102. He beat out the 102.1 set by Hedman and Giordano. Then he beat out Seth Jones' 98.8 as well. So Pettersson beat out 3 of the top defenders in the league in terms of his slap shot speed. Obviously, though, Shea Weber comes in here. He's been a champion pretty much every single time he's done this, except the years when Zdeno Chara was around. But Weber got 106.5. Ooh, my goodness. How fast is that for Captain Shea? The rest of the NHL All-Star Skills Competition, it's pretty interesting. The women's game was absolutely entertaining. That was an amazing game to watch. It wasn't even really like a full game, but like, what entertaining hockey the women were able to put on. Absolutely have to give their props. And that was a really welcomed addition to this year's NHL All-Star Skills Competition. And things also wrapped up with the shooting stars is what it was called. Oh boy, that was a weird one. Some of the points they calculated I didn't really think were actually accurate, and a lot of the opportunities to get pucks towards the targets were really thwarted off. it was a weird one. I think the NHL will probably refine that later on, but we had that. Oh, I almost forgot about the accuracy shooting. That one was weird too. Please just bring the styrofoam targets back. That one was a much more easier system to follow. The plexiglass and the tracking of the sensors for the pucks, that didn't really work out too well. Huberdeau got a puck that was on the target when it really missed. Thomas Hertl shot the puck on target, but it wasn't counted a few times. It was really, really weird. But Jacob Slavin winning that event was really unexpected to me. The guy's one of the better shot-down defensemen in the league, and he comes in here, goes like 5 for 6 or 7 or whatever, and absolutely just beats out Draisaitl in the accuracy shooting. So the guy's probably got to shoot the puck a little bit more if you ask me, but that kind of wraps up my thoughts on the All-Star Skills Competition. Overall, it was a really weird event. The shooting stars and the accuracy shooting really kind of messed with me in terms of how I thought the program was playing out, because a lot of the technology used wasn't necessarily what I would call the smoothest, but it's whatever. We saw our Vancouver Canucks, we saw the women, we saw everybody participating and putting on a really nice show. So that's my little recap. Hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.